Hello and welcome. My name is Sabrina. I am your host, Keep Your Hand in Your Skirt podcast. Today's conversation is about new thoughts. Let's invite in new thoughts in order that we can create new manifestations, new experiences, new interactions. They say most of us have the same thoughts day after day after day. I think they said it's either like 2,000 thoughts a day you have, or maybe it was 8,000. I'm pretty sure that women have more thoughts than males. Not to be genderist, but that's what the science has shown. But they both men and women, both genders tend to have the thoughts you had yesterday, or the thoughts you're having today, or the thoughts you're having tomorrow. So it makes sense why most people are not manifesting or actualizing or realizing new things. You might be wanting something new in your finances or in your relationships or with your health and wellness or with your family or your career. But if your thoughts on that topic are the same thoughts you had yesterday and the same thoughts you're going to have again tomorrow, your thoughts are going to keep creating those same reflections, those same experiences. So if you would like to, you can introduce new thoughts to help change your set point, your vibration on that topic, to allow in some new reflections, some new manifestations, some new experiences. How do you do that? Well, one super easy way to do that is through the power of an open-ended question. And it is so simple. So the way you go about doing it, and my suggestion is pick a topic that's just light and easy. If you're wanting to learn how the universe works, how the law of attraction works, if you take a topic that's really heavy, like it's really significant, it's really important, you've got a lot of stress and anxiety or worry around it, it's going to be hard for you to demonstrate. That's a projection. It might be harder for you to get results on something that's really meaningful because you could have a lot of resistance. And Abraham Hicks, Law of Attraction teacher, talks about one of the fastest ways to manifest, actualize, realize is to become resistance free. So if it's a big, heavy, super significant topic, often there's a lot of resistance attached to it. So it's fun to play these games on topics that don't matter, on topics that are just light and easy, so you can demonstrate to yourself, you can have a little science experience, you can just play the game to see if you are able to manifest new things on the topic just by introducing new thoughts. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm going to pick a topic that's just light and easy, and I'm just going to pick games and playing. So let's say I would like to receive some new manifestations. I would like to have some new experiences, have some new reflections being reflected back to me that are new on the topic of games, playing in games. So I would go in, the way I do it, I just go into my heart space. I intentionally just go into my heart, just to have that connection, that pure love. And then I choose to invite in communication. You can invite in communication with whatever term or label that you like. Some people want to invite in communication with their angels or guides. Some people want to talk to their higher self or inner being. For me, I just talk to an aspect of my multidimensional self. So I'll go into my heart space, just be calm and balanced, regulated nervous system, and I'll say, I would like new thoughts. I would like to receive new ideas on new thoughts that I could have on the topic of games and playing. Like, show me some new thoughts, drop some seeds into the field, drop some awarenesses into the field, drop some new ideas and thought forms into my field so I can pick up on those thought forms and I can start thinking about new thoughts on this topic. And the power of an open-ended question, when you're playing with your multidimensionality, when you're playing with your multidimensional consciousness, the communication does not translate like to people who speak English. So if I'm talking to you and I say, how are you, right? It's a question. And you say, I'm great. I'm really happy. I'm having a fantastic day. We're like, I asked a question and then you give me the instant response. Well, when you're communicating with your multidimensional self, the response or the type of language or the type of communication is not necessarily the way two English speaking people would have the language. You might see something in your mind's eye. You might it might be a visual thing. You might hear something. It might be auditory. You might actually hear words. You might have a sense of smell about something. You might have all of a sudden an inspired action to go do something. So the way our multidimensional consciousness can communicate with us, if we have the awareness it can show up different, then we're not disappointed or frustrated that we're not looking for the exchange that two English-speaking people would have, right? And I love talking about communication, right? I have my book. If you guys haven't gotten it, it's Intuition is Calling. You can go to SabrinaBrightstar.com and get it. Intuition is Calling, and I just dive into the different ways that we communicate. And so many of us, we think maybe our guides or our angels or our inner being is not talking to us because we're only looking for one type of feedback. We're looking for, like if you're talking to an English person, you're looking for an English answer instantly, right? But our multidimensionality can communicate in all different ways. And as multidimensional beings, we all have the ability to communicate in all of these ways, telepathy, right? With auditory, visual. But many of us, our multidimensional abilities are not fully, they might be still dormant. Maybe you haven't activated all of them, or maybe you've turned on, you have some clairvoyant abilities, but maybe it's only opened, like on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe it's only open to 3 or a 4. So, and that's no big deal, it's no problem. But a lot of times people dismiss the communication that's happening or the connection that's happening because they're assuming it needs to look a certain way, and they're missing and dismissing all the other ways that connection and communication can be happening. And the great thing about asking an open-ended question is it takes off all the pressure, because you're not looking for an answer. You're just sitting in the field, right? You're throwing your question into the quantum field. You're throwing your question to your multidimensional aspects. You're throwing your question to your inner being, higher self, whatever you like. And you're not expecting an instant answer. You're just throwing it out there. You're just throwing it out there like, hey, I want some new ideas about games and play. I want something that I've never thought of before. Help me think of I want some new thought patterns that are not familiar to me. Because these thought patterns already exist in the field, right? But your mind, your mental mind is used to thinking the same way about that topic. So when you can just go, so I can be like, well, right? So like my mind can be like, well, do telepathy games. Like wouldn't that be fun to do telepathy games and start intentionally, not for pressure, not for judging, but just for the intentionalness of like, wouldn't it be fun to have telepathy games? And then I can like allow myself to just start daydreaming about, wow, like when I wake up in the morning, I could do just in my bed in the dark room, right? I like a really dark room. I'm sensitive to light. So in a really dark room, in my room, I can just be like telepathically like, oh, who's here? Like, who's here? Like, who wants to chit chat with me right now, right? And I can just start playing this game, and I can just start giving that, I can use my imagination and start introducing new thoughts. So it would change everything, right? If I started waking up and I spent the first 10 minutes of my day, like having telepathic conversation, because I turned it into a game and I thought it would be really fun, and I got this inspired idea right now as I was talking to you, like that will really change that will really introduce new manifestations, new reflections, new experiences for me. So it can be as simple as we want it to be. And if you don't catch something right away, if you don't get like any hits right away, like you're not looking for the hits. You're throwing that question into the field. You're throwing the question in the field, and then go about your business, and stuff will land. That's how it works. Like all of a sudden you'll be like at the store and you'll see a game you've never thought of before, or you'll be on Facebook and someone will be like, have you guys ever played this game? I just love it. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, I just sent out the invitation that I wanted to have some new thoughts. I wanted to have some new thought patterns about games and playing. I wanted something new to show up with games and playing, and voila. Or somebody calls you and they invite you to go do this activity that you've never done before, and it's an activity that your heart just loves, your body just loves it, and you'd never even like thought about it. But now that it's here, like it's a reflection, it's an experience, it's a manifestation, because you chose to introduce some new thoughts on that topic. Law of attraction, manifestation, actualization. It's so fun. So thanks for listening. I hope you have a great afternoon, and I hope you have some new thoughts.